So what has happened to missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370? We're now on pretty much day 3, and there's no evidence anywhere that this plane is even anywhere here on Earth. It's very strange. Normally, with a big plane like this, you'll be able to find some debris in the water. It's as if the plane just vanished. And so this is very interesting. Now at this point you have to kind of think out the box a little bit of other possibilities. Of course, one of the first things you would think of possibly could be a terrorist act. No terrorism group is claimed to be responsible for anything like that, so that kind of, I guess you would say, maybe lowers the chance of that since nobody's claimed anything. And okay, so also you think about, well, maybe plane functioning or something, some type of mechanical problems. But what brings the possibility of that down quite a bit is the fact that this particular plane here, this particular make of this plane, model and make of this plane, has an excellent safety record. There's only one other plane like this that have crashed, and that was due to pilot error. So you kind of have to really tone that down too. So then you have to really go outside the box. I mean, what else could there be? UFO abduction of this plane? Well, that might sound kind of bizarre, but that is a possibility. Now, I've stated in my other videos, of course, we know that, well, about 95% of the visitors that come to this planet, alien visitors, have good intentions. They're here to try to protect us. Quite often their UFOs are seen over missile sites, and they shut the electronic equipment down at these missile sites, and they're only doing this, of course, to try to protect us from possible a nuclear disaster. And so that's why they do this, and they're concerned about our safety and our well-being because, well, you know how many humans have doing a lot of crazy things, and you know, they want to protect their environment and also the universe because our planet, you know, can affect other areas also. But still a big mystery here. And so so then the question comes up after that, well, this is a big plane now. This is a giant plane. It's 777. It's a huge plane. Had well over 200 people on it. So it's big, but it's not near as big as some of the UFOs that have been spotted here on Earth. And I'm going to show you some cases of that in just a minute. I mean, comparatively speaking, this plane would be quite small compared to a UFO that's the size of a football field or a mile wide. And these have been reported, and I want to talk about that. I also want to show you this. This is very interesting right here. The location where this plane left, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, back in 1995. What's really interesting, the exact area where this plane took off from back in October 18th, 1995, you can see here that some people, many people in that area, spotted a UFO that was big as a football field. And that made the news right there. So that's interesting that it's coming from this exact area here. Now here, the same place right here, this is it. This was from November of last year, so this was just a few months away. I mean, a few months ago, and this is the exact area where the plane took off from. And look at all these UFO sightings that they had in the area there recently. Now, here's the story right here. Mile-wide UFO spotted by British airline pilot. So a UFO mile wide could certainly would be able to take control of an airplane of this size if it wanted to. And there's many stories of this. In a minute, I'm going to show you about the Phoenix lights. Probably the biggest story about large-sized UFOs. So that makes very interesting right there. You know, this possibility. There is this possibility, absolutely. And not necessarily that this is what happened, but of course it is a possibility. And the other thing you have to consider also is if this did occur, why would it be? Why would they want to take control of this plane? I want to note that there's a company out of Austin, Texas that makes semiconductors. And so, you know, that's involved in computers and stuff like that. So I don't know if anything like that would have to do with it, but I do know that 20 people that work at this company in Austin, Texas, making these semiconductors, were on that plane. So that does throw another interesting twist to it. Now, this is the story, of course, from the Phoenix lights. Phoenix, Arizona, back in 1997. there were many, 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 and I want to stress that in regards to this, there were many people that saw these large UFOs in the skies over Phoenix, March 13th, 1997. There's reports, there's a doctor, she's one of friends on my friends list on Facebook. She's written a book. Police officers, you name it, almost any line of work or profession or whatever, people saw these huge UFOs in the sky over Phoenix, Arizona. And these, this V-shaped here, these things were a mile wide or larger, a mile wide. Can you imagine? They could easily take a plane the size of a 777. But I mean, these things are huge. Can you imagine a plane a mile wide? That is a UFO a mile wide. That is huge. And this isn't the only place there have been reports of these, but this is probably the most famous right here in Phoenix, because there were several of these UFOs, and literally thousands and thousands of people saw these giant UFOs over the city of Phoenix. So that's definitely a possibility. And so we'll leave it at that, and we'll see what happens. But it is a possibility.